Almost 10 minutes gone past 11 o'clock, and it's our major conversation this morning. I have a seasoned man, an individual, a journalist, a business consultant, a father to many people, both professionally and biologically, in the studio with me this morning. Now, the last time he was here, he was so detailed and one could even say down to earth with the way he explained how Bureau the Change works in this country and the quagmire we seem to have found ourselves in. Now, here is once again, as we delve into the world once again of Forex demand, hard currency demand, like we like to say on the street. Most common is the dollar. Now, sometime last month in August, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, adjusted foreign exchange rates in search of uniform framework. The local demand hit $1.1 billion on the back of outstanding obligations. Now, local manufacturers warn that, look, some factories may have to shut down if these obligations over 1 year of foreign suppliers were not met. If you didn't know, some businesses buy on credit, and this credit is in quote, dollars, pounds, or whatever. Now, they have started to run their businesses. The exchange rate is not particularly nice, and if you know that the BDC, talking about the Bureau of Change, CBN has said, we're not going to give people foreign currency anymore because you guys are carrying out sharp practices. But the effect people expected is not making manifest just about now. At that time, it was about 495 naira to the dollar. As we speak this morning, on some floors, the dollar is being exchanged for just about 545 naira to the dollar. The euro is about 745 naira to pound, and then the euro is about 636. Many Nigerians are probably dancing shako and wondering what exactly is happening. They never would have thought that in their generation, in their lifetime, they would get to see the dollar exchange for 500. In fact, 500 was a myth. It was the yachts that said it would never get there. But not only have we gotten there, but we have exceeded. But it's not that the government is not working. It's not that the government just folded its arms and let it get to this point. Ignatius Chukwu, my guest this morning, is going to explain to us and give us insight what can be done now that these, in quote, checks and balances by the CBN have been made. We don't expect magic, but it's a process. But he is of the opinion there's some things that should be done from our end and indeed from the government's end. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to where the region has its best conversations. Welcome, sir. Mr. Chukwu once again joining us. Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you, listeners. I don't know what I will call you, fortunate or unfortunate listeners. I'm scared each time Forex is about to be discussed.
The last time that you were here, the place literally went up in fire. People were astounded at some of the things that we discussed. But now, you said, last time we were here, I remember you saying that the checks that CBN is enforcing was long overdue. That there were too many fraudulent and sharp practices going on. But interestingly, you also warned that we should not expect magic overnight. Right. And it's not going to be easy. We have to stay on this road. Now, just barely 2 months, we are on the road. The last time we were here, the dollar was trading about 450, 460, 475 in some places.
A relationship with the outside world and what the outside world does to you. At that program, we try to explain elements of balance of trade and balance of payment. I export, you and we import. When you check the volume and the value, you are dealing with a balance of trade. But when you now when you begin to convert them to payment and also begin to check services that you export and services you import, plus payments of those exports and imports, You now go and balance. Okay, so the overall balancing of your account is now what they call balance of payment. When it is against you, balance of trade may be in your favor, but balance of trade may not be in your favor. So countries, let me tell you, apart from security of lives and property, the very next big responsibility for a sovereign nation, a sovereign government, for a government, for each sovereign entity, is managing the relationship, the trade relationship between it and other countries. And that was why in the olden days they resorted to war. If there's a region or a country that is blocking you from another big trading partner, you will now check, you may use military option. If you capture them, they become part of you. You now have open seas. You trade better. So in order to balance your trade, to balance your payment account, you could see wars until the world began to come together to say, let us not keep fighting now. Let's negotiate. So the United Nations, the first attempt failed, second attempt succeeded, and after the World War, the world now had United Nations. So in the United Nations now, you see many organs were created, so that those organs are the ones that penetrate, if it has to do with health, to make all countries to abide by the same rule and standard. World Health Organization, If it's agriculture, you have their own. So if it is trade, where our daughter is now the henchwoman, right?
Yeah.
So the WTO will now, instead of going to war to catch a smaller country and turn, and maybe you are importing too much of a particular raw material. Like Nigeria has plenty limestone, but you need gypsum to make it become cement. You now know one neighboring country that has plenty gypsum and is making things difficult for you. You invade them, capture them, gypsum becomes surplus. Can you see trade? Your trade will boom. You will no longer pay foreign exchange. So that was what they used. But now under WTO, you negotiate, and there you send your best brains in trade management. So before now. Have we been sending our best brains? Let's not go there because the topic for another day. What I'm trying to say is trying to see whether we can navigate to what I call the fundamentals. So you don't wake up and the exchange rate is not a function of what we think about. Exchange rate is a result of years of planning, years of tweaking the fundamentals. How do you affect your fundamentals? The fundamental is that that what you export must be equal or even better, higher than what you import. So that is a big fundamental, and that means that does not happen in a day. The problem is that we run this country now on the day you took over, dollar was 5 naira. It doesn't use calendar to work. What did you put on ground to make you export more and make you import less? So whether so if you are not paying attention to it, whether you are a benevolent government or a wicked government, the result will be that very soon you see that the relationship between your local currency and the international the trade currencies like dollar and pound and euro, the difference will begin to grow against you. So if it begins to grow against you, you will see that our appetite for foreign goods and the foreign education. You remember, some of you may not know that before the 80s and in the 80s, someone with a university degree from Nigeria, especially Ife, Lagos, Ibadan, Nsukka, Ahmadu Bello, if you come to an interview, those who came with American degrees will give you a chance. Because when they have finished picking Nigeria's best university graduates, they now look at foreign presidents. And sometimes, if you come back from abroad, sometimes there was one program they would ask you to go and do to qualify, a certificate to qualify.
Wow.
So this decline. This decline is not only in naira and dollar.
Yeah.
So appreciation and depreciation is not only in naira. When a time came when only the certificates that competed with Nigeria were British certificate. England. You read in the UK, you can talk where a Nigerian graduate talked, especially for employment, right? Because Nigeria was running UK system of education. So your WAEC and their Cambridge will rub shoulders. So, but gradually now, if you, I'm sure that even somebody who just managed to cross one small boundary and go and read the certificate, we have more respect in Nigeria now, and it is for obvious reasons. So what I'm trying to say is that time, the hunger, the appetite that your wedding shopping must be done abroad, that your wristwatch for ordinary happy birthday wristwatch to impress anybody, it must be foreign. So now that we have cultivated a culture that what is foreign is better and gives us more class, because we now impose standards on ourselves, impose forming on ourselves. So if I wear shirt, before you greet me, you read the label. If it is an internationally imported shirt, you give me better good morning. But if you suspect where I bought it, or Benda Boutique, or you're sure I bought it in a particular town near Port Harcourt, you greet me that kind good morning will suit my type of suit, right? So that mentality, if you are looking what is fueling the dollar, you start from there. Then it now makes people who want to import raw materials and equipment, they are now competing with avalanche of people who are moving abroad. Have you gone to the airport to see people who are traveling abroad every day? The planes are filled up every day. That of Nigeria is not a small matter. It now begins to reflect in every other thing. So if everybody must go abroad to study, you must create a very large window for school fees payment. If every shirt that must be called a better shirt has to come from abroad, you create a window for better shoe. I was with somebody last week, and they gave him one shoe under the table. So we are giving you this shoe at 25,000, but go to the shop, it is 80,000. 80,000. I don't know how many graduates that are lucky to get a salary of 80,000 today. But that is what one person will wear in one leg and waka. So what I'm trying to say is, as long as those things mean much to us, it means the pressure on the dollar must continue to be high on the naira against dollar. Why dollar? Because that is the international medium of exchange. So now, anybody who really cares, and any government that calls itself a government, as I said, apart from protection of lives and property, I think the next place of attention, holding meeting day and night, meeting all those you need to meet your friends, meet your enemies, meet your detractors, whoever holds the key, whoever.
So they must meet their enemies on economic matters.
Whenever, yes, that's what I've been saying, even on security. The mistake we are making is that we are regime based. So if you are looking for solution in security, you must only talk to your friends and talk to those that support you. Who told you that the key to success is lying only in the pockets of your supporters? What about the brains outside your support base? What mechanism? Is there an ideation center in Nigeria where they look, an American president said, look, all the problems Nigeria is suffering will be solved by Nigerians. That the kind of brains he sees around the world called Nigerians, that they are too important, too intelligent not to solve their problems. But then what we lack is, what is the mechanism of harvesting those brains?
So let's come
but
down.
So what we are saying about where do you, it is in acupuncture where the pain, where something is paining you.
That's what
a particular needle, not every needle. That's why they have millions of needles. There's going to be a particular needle that will go there. So you don't use a wrong needle for a wrong spot. Where the problem is that demand for dollar is exceedingly high. And that's why the federal government that created the Nigeria Export Promotion Council since 1976 was lying fallow. Why would the council do anything when oil, you just export? I've always said here that oil picked our bills and they wiped away our foolishness. Have you seen how a foolish son of a rich man, nobody easily knows that he's a foolish man, a foolish boy? Because the father's wealth will buy a lot of those things. He makes a mistake, they bring a home teacher. He makes a mistake, they bring a servant. He makes a mistake, they bring a driver. So all the things that would have exposed him, the father's wealth will cover them. So if anything happens and they remove the wool, remove all those covers, his real quality will spill on the streets And people will know whether this rich man, whether the king really has a worthy heir, a worthy son. So oil was picking the bills. So we can't. So if we don't manufacture, we import oil, we pay. If our education crumbles, we go abroad, oil pays. If we are foolish, oil pays. If we can't do shit, and we need to, another person has to do shit and give us. All the West African men have to come and do plumbing and the menial jobs. Oil pays. So we keep living big. By the time oil for some years now say I know go fit pay. The man helping you to pay has said he can't pay. So you have to learn how to do your laundry, wash your things. So are we ready? And that means what do we do? So that is when now suddenly the Nigeria Export Promotion Council was now to look, get out there, because we have we have 200 million Nigerians, which means we have 200 million exporters. If you want to say so, it's possible.
The potential exporters.
Yes, you have 200 million people who can export. Why are we exporting corruption and violence when there are better things to export? And do that export doesn't mean that you must manufacture. Do that packaging alone can make you an exporter. That means you add value by the type of packaging. You buy from local women. Do you know when these people return from the US and they want to buy bitter leaf? They tell the same women who sell bitter leaf and say, don't sell this week, I will buy up. So what they now do that, they now show them how they will process it. So you see, the women do that. These are brothers didn't plant the bitter leaf. They didn't plant okazi, right? So somebody plants okazi, plants bitter leaf, brings it to the market. What you have done is you process it and package it in a way that it will be accepted abroad. So you see, you are adding value and you now take it out there. So when they arrive to buy, local market will be starved of bitter leaf and okazi. Until they travel back, local purchase will be difficult because of high demand from abroad. So what we are saying is that we have 200 million potential exporters. And that's why the Export Council is now out to say, come, let's teach you so that whatever your hand can find, you can export. You are a worker, you can export. You are a politician, you can export. You are a businessman, you can export. So if you export, it will expand the base. I just read yesterday that cashew and the cowpea gave us 132 billion export in the last quarter. It's one quarter export, 132 billion worth of export for two items. So you see, if we learn more, they make it available and we learn more. It means that instead of every kitchen, every family, every graduate to be an import center, a cost center, the same people can be turned to become export centers.
Now, so talking about these export centers, it's not going to happen overnight. Last time you came here, you said the same thing, that the CBN, it's kind of like a fire brigade approach, what they're doing right now. It's been years that this should have happened. They've been in the know, but now it has happened. We are indirectly, like you said, suffering this high demand. Everything. It's in some cases killing the local imports. The manufacturers, and this is from the Guardian newspaper, are saying that because of all of this demand, some factories may close. Is this the necessary effect that we must face for us to get better? Or, like some people are saying, it might just spell more doom, because if factories close, you know that means people are going to be out of work. That means that product in particular is not going to be made available for people. That means we still then have to go and import whatever they were making to feed us. So this balance of trade seems to be a bit big for people to just come in. It's easy for you to sit down and say, oh yeah, let's not be demanding for imported products. But what are the alternatives?
Well, first of all, we have an attitude of not even promoting locally made ones. Two, you cannot expect a product from a perfect market for the product to be of the same quality with products from an imperfect market. So we understand all of that. We understand the fact that at the growing stage, your products may not be wonderful, right? But there must be a consciousness to say, despite this, let us for so number of years use it. But that's, by the way, where the problem you pointed out in the Guardian is about availability of foreign exchange to import raw materials and machinery. But I do know that right from remember in Jonathan's I hate to call presidents so that it doesn't begin to sound political. But the last regime, 2 years ago, there was an economic summit in Asarok where many people went to. They invited even business editors, and our editors were there, where they released the manufacturing platform. That was where some rules were made about how to patronize locally made cars.
Yes.
They even gave percentage 35% discount for if you make car locally. So everybody, so many of all those manufacturers began to send their manufacturing plants to Nigeria to enjoy the 35% that will run for 24 months or so before you return to all of that. That's why today in Port Harcourt there's a tractor manufacturing company. How many people know?
How many people know?
So what I'm trying to say is, now, right from that time, and it was sustained when the new regime came, the agreement was, look, let a window be open for manufacturers for their own demand. Because you cannot tell manufacturers to go and compete with those who are importing frivolous things.
Yes.
So there will be need to give them their own window. And I know that a lot of things were being done. I'm surprised. I'm going back to go and find out from our manufacturer sources. That window that was meant, especially during COVID, when COVID now made it impossible for you to import, every country now realized that no matter how you enjoy importation, you must have a local Lego. Because when China, India refused to send drugs, send things because they were having overflow there, we now saw that there is need for local manufacture of vaccines and the other things.
Okay, all right, we'll go for headline news this morning. Ignatius Chukwu, once again, breaking down things to their barest minimum. Right here on 90.3 Nigeria Info.
Headline news, Nigeria Info on 92.3. Headline news.
Good morning. Headline news from the nation's #1 talk news and sports radio station 92.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Jude. CGN directs Judicial Service Committee to discipline FCT judge. The River State government disagrees with claims that federal government and NLNG are carrying out construction of the Boni-Bodo Road. Anambra State governor threatens to shut down banks that fail to operate today over IPOB sit-at-home order. River State government to build a national judicial institute in the state. To business, CBN asks Nigerians to ignore reports that domiciliary account operators have been directed to convert their holdings into Naira. It's from the world of entertainment. Wizkid wins Best Cinematography category in the 2021 MTV Video Music Awards for the song Brown Skin Girl by Beyonce. To sports, Russia's Daniil Medvedev wins his first Grand Slam title. And finally, from the international scene, Guinea's military junta announces toll-free numbers for civilians to report abuse by security forces. And also, Taliban announces new rules for female students in Afghanistan. Contact our newsroom on 0818 90,017. That's 0818 90,017. My name is June. Major news comes your way 12 midday right here on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Hello, Port Harcourt. Welcome back. We are really in the thick of a conversation this morning. There isn't any time. If you just join us, Ignatius Chukwu has once again been gracious to afford us his presence as we talk about Forex financial issues. And this time around is the demand of Forex on our economy, how it's affecting it. Now, just before the break, you got to hear him say that there is an attitude. It's that attitude that's probably promoting some of the challenges, if not most of the challenges that we're experiencing with the balance of trade deficits. How many people are willing to buy locally made instruments, locally made items, locally made services? All of that is probably causing all of these things to happen. Now, we'll get to speak to our guest and we'll open the phone lines in the next 5 minutes. Welcome once again, sir.
Thank you, my dear.
Now, before, just after we left, I remember, we're not going to mention two regimes, but there was a time in this country, about, my memory serves me right, about 13, 14 years ago, we had the rebranding of Nigeria. Nigeria, great people, great nation. Now, some said that particular activity, that particular exercise yielded some results because of rebranding, that we were good people, that we can do good things, and more people should come and do business with us, bringing their businesses over here to improve our production and quality of our services. But today, we are on the watch list for internet fraud. Policemen have been indicted, have been called out. Our sons and daughters have been labeled. Even prominent, in quotes, businessmen have been found culpable, in certain activities. How do we change that mindset? Because Nigerians still today, as they were back then, as much younger, still want the best goods, the best quality. Why are we not making the very best?
Well, I was trying to conclude the fact that manufacturers crying that they are not getting foreign exchange means that, because we are looking at this new order which said bureau de change stop, banks take over, and as I speak with you, the federal government has launched a second investigation into how banks are using their money, which was our fear ab initio.
Yes.
So that after all, before so now that they have launched second investigation, I remember in 2016 they launched an investigation also in how they were giving it, which means the banks don't seem to be trusted in receiving openly and giving openly. And then the CBN has launched what they call Know Your Customer. And they say, look, right now they say, show us the list of those you are giving the money to. Mm-hmm. Because there is a lot you can do with foreign exchange. And you know that terrorism also needs a lot of foreign exchange.
Yes.
And you know that foreign exchange, they use drugs a lot as a store of value. Bring it, you send dollars, they bring you drugs, you sell the drugs, convert it to dollars. So you see, foreign exchange is needed if terrorism has to be strong. If it has to grow, they need dollars. So the government is also fighting that without saying it exactly, but they're also fighting that. So if we give it to the banks, how are we sure who you give it to? Now, the question you should ask yourself is this. If the CBN is finding it difficult to trust the banks and the banks find it difficult to be transparent in this, is it bureau de change that will be more transparent if banks are under suspicion like this? But that's by the way. So but what is important to me is that I don't know whether moving all the dollars to the banks, whether it has now made manufacturers not to have a special window through which importation of machinery and raw materials will be treated with urgency to the point of them saying that the inventory, things that have not been clear, are in billion. So that's dangerous. I will get back to my sources and know whether manufacturers no longer have special attention in terms of access to the, so we get to that.
Yes, because it's a very big question, because for anybody, most of the people who would have patronized ideally, like you said, the bureau de change, you are keen then to POS centers are available. You want small money, you go there, collect maybe $1,000, $2,000 or whatever. No, we don't expect someone who wants to make a milk factory or a shoe factory to go to the bureau de change. Yes,
the exchange rate we kill. We kill those people. The reason why you give manufacturers attention is that they earn revenue with when you give them foreign exchange, you give them dollar. You help in job creation. You help in reducing inflation. You also help in export because they produce primary goods that can be exported also. So and we have a battle. The African Free Trade Continental Agreement, where every country has to come with its best goods and its best trade mechanism. If you don't do well there, it means African countries have right to dump you.
Wow.
They have right.
So Nigeria,
you are fighting European dumping.
So Nigeria can actually be excommunicated.
Yes, if countries near you do better. Somebody once us at a training last week. He said, do you know what is called Ethiopian pepper? He said, if Ethiopian pepper enters Nigerian market, you won't buy pepper of your neighbor's pepper. Well packaged, and they sell at supermarkets, right? So, and you know how people go to the supermarket. In short, if it is possible to buy pellets of apple at supermarket, many big men won't buy from the mama put roadside. So we have this other side about at the supermarket. So what I'm trying to say that if you don't protect your because now you have lost the right to protect the right through protectionism. Under protectionism, you use the law and use by force to say we don't want this item here from neighboring country. We have lost that right. Now, the only way you achieve it that if your local manufacturer is competitive in quality and price. Otherwise, the average person, if he enters into a supermarket and he sees 3 or 4 types of one item, the same item, 4 types, they say this one is 500 naira, this other one is 350. He will buy the one of 350, and maybe that one is even better because it is produced in an economy that has low production costs. So if they have low tax, low transportation, low manpower, less insecurity, an item from that economy is certainly going to be from an economy. You know, a Niger Delta construction is very expensive because of the number of soldiers you have to put near a construction company. But before, if you are doing construction in some parts of Nigeria, the villagers will bring you goat, come thank you, say, hey, this road our place. Yeah. Why in another part of the country, those foreign workers will be kidnapped. So, which means you need expensive, if a road will take 2 billion, you need 3 billion to protect the 2 billion, making 5 billion. Then if you add small corruption and small settlement, it's going to 7-8 billion, isn't it? So, at the end, if that road were to be sold at a West African market, and another man brings the same quality of road, instead of 8 billion, he's selling it at 4 billion. Won't you buy the one of 4 billion? Have you seen why they say in the new regime coming, where African goods are free to flood our markets, only quality and price can save Nigeria? But do we behave like people who are going to fight that kind of war? Do we look like them? Is there anything you produce in Nigeria that will not be expensive? For your truck to move from one state to another state, do you know how many payment points? Remember that truck they bumped last week? The driver said he had 210,000 he put in the car to enable him pay sort out on the road. So you see, if paying bribe on the road is estimated to the value of 210,000 naira, that will show you at the end of it how much will you say the item. What I'm saying is that the way we produce and the attitude and our regulatory system and everything, it makes goods produced in Nigeria to be costly, and you are no longer talking about European competition. You are talking about African competition. The competition has come, and if that's the case, it means that the naira will bleed more.
017-923-0002, 017-923-0003, 0817-923-0007, and then 0817-923-0009. Our guest this morning, Ignatius Chukwu, regional editor here for the Business Day. We are talking about the Forex demand. How can the demand for foreign exchange be reduced? That's our conversation this morning. What are your questions for our guest? What do you think can be done? What, in addition to his suggestions, should be made known to the public? We want to get to hear from you this morning. WhatsApp and Telegram available on 0809 030 6416, 0809 030 6416. Then get onto Facebook, facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH, facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. When you call in, please do well to turn down the volume of your radio set. Ugochukwu is on the line. Yeah. Hello, Port Harcourt. Ugochukwu, good morning to you.
Man, I've benefited a lot from the guests at the studio. I was one of his students because their paper helped me. I told him something. Their paper helped me writing my project many years ago in UST. So I've been an ardent reader of their paper. But what he's saying, I'm seeing the CBN governor being somebody who cannot bite, like the Sanusi of old. because he's coming from that school. He left Zenith so not long ago to CBN. So if he can, you are monitoring the dollar exchange rate and watching what is happening. You cannot be talking without biting as a regulatory agency. You have to bite. Punish banks. Stop one or two banks from getting Forex. Fine them heavily. So that there will be, when they see that an action has been taken, on one or two or three banks, they will sit up. But when you keep on talking, investigating, and I promise you, like what happened when Sanudo left and Sanusi came, if another person who is a very serious person comes, you will see a lot of rot in CBN when he has left. So he's not doing it, and it's not helping the economy. He's too soft on the banks and too soft on all these below the change operators that they are just sabotaging the economy. The president's name, they'll be calling him, they're calling the government, but he himself as a regulatory agency, what has he done to nip that thing at the board? It's a very big issue. So thank you very much.
It is a big issue. Now, Ignatius, Mr. Ignatius, we don't have a lot of time.
No,
so
we don't have time.
You mentioned whenever something goes wrong, the buck stops at the president.
Yes.
But is the president not doing enough?
Well, I think the president is trying, but the masses will not go to bed with trying. The masses want results. So, but our caller, thank you very much for giving Business Day one or two complimentary remarks. I thank you. We've been pushing this in. We have a college program where we want them to read Business Day at almost next free, because they are going to be the CEOs of tomorrow. So he has said that, and I thank him. But you see, banning as a bureau de change, to me, is a sweeping action. Now, but the banks, that banks, registering a bank is a very big process. So before you also carry out sanctions, banks can retain the best lawyers, the best thinkers, economists, planners. So, and you were attending bankers' meeting with them some years ago, where all of you pointed out how regulatory agencies don't listen carefully before taking action. Now that he is there, so you see, if he behaves like those who are not governors or were not bank managers,
yes,
they will say, you see why it is better for a former bank manager to be there, because he will know how it feels on all the sides. So I think that he's been flexible, probably trying to accommodate where he's coming from because of insider knowledge, and therefore he says, let's investigate thoroughly so that we don't take action and you go to court and rubbish us. I think that probably he is trying to follow due process. But if an investigation was launched in 2016 and another one has been launched in 2021, and someone of my level has not read the result, I think Chukwu may have a point there.
Echo is in LMA. Echo, good morning to you, final caller.
Jude, fine morning to you.
Good morning, welcome please.
And good morning to the wonderful resource person we have on the studio.
God bless you, my dear.
Jude,
thank you.
I belong to the oil and gas industry, LPG sector to be precise, cooking gas. And before now, we were importing gas, but government came up with the decision that those in the sector should patronize the gas in Nigeria, the one produced by LPG. And when we had a meeting that fine and good, let's patronize LNG. Funny enough, when people went to LNG to buy gas, LNG started selling gas to the players in the industry in dollar. Now, when you compare the cost of buying gas in Nigeria to the cost of buying gas outside the world, the one in outside world seems to be cheaper. Because for you to get gas in Nigeria, gas that is produced in Nigeria, you have to go and source for Forex. And these are the same people who are encouraging you to buy from Nigeria to grow the economy, to patronize the local content. But LNG, I am shouting it, LNG is selling LPG to Nigerians in dollar. Let me ask the resource person, the expert there, is this a good idea? We are talking about growing the economy and helping our naira to have power. But LNG is selling LPG in dollar. LNG is selling LPG in dollar. Please, what is the rationale behind this decision? And that is the basic reason why gas price is increasing. And until we stop energy from doing that, because of that, we continue to be on the high side.
Okay, let me quickly say, because of time, let me quickly say what I know. If anybody sells anything made in Nigeria, sells it in dollar, the person has committed treasonable offense. To me, if you know where you try those who want Nigeria to break up, try them there. That's why in countries like China, economic sabotage receives premium punishment and premium attention. They are not the offenses they use most and most to try. They charge you today, before 7 days you are guilty. Whatever will happen. Accelerated hearing. But I know that LNG came out last week to say we are not involved in local gas matter. We are purely for export. So they try to explain how they are not the ones involved in that. What they are selling, they told about the difference between LG and LPG, so that it is that when we hear LPG, we assume that they are the ones. So what they did was to wash their hands off. But thank you, my brother. You have given me an assignment. I'm basically a business reporter. When we hear complaints like this, we try to find out. So I will now go and find out exactly if they are selling, since they say they're not even selling gas in the first place, so that rather they export. Their facilities are meant to, but they are building facilities that will soon begin to make the locally consumable version. I will find out more, because you see, when they polish these statements and give to us, sometimes you have to look at it very well. Right, so now that the citizen has complained, I'll go and look at that statement very well and ask the right people the right questions.
Okay, all right, ask the right people the right question. Edwin, a final caller, PH Town. Edwin, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, welcome.
I am very glad to hear from your first person. In fact, these are the kind of people we like to hearing from on studio. Very balanced-minded and clear-minded. I congratulate you making the comment and educating us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Well, time is a commodity that we all have, but we don't have enough of, sadly. Mr. Ignatius, always a pleasure. How we'll go about changing the narrative, the attitude. Maybe the NOA needs to come in as well to join the matter. We don't know how exactly, but yes, the demand for Forex is high. That's why you have the exchange rates are high. All things being equal, the next time we'll have you, we'll probably want to get some more answers. My guest, Mr. Ignatius Chukwu, regional editor here, Business Day. Thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you, Jude, and thank you, wonderful listeners, that even spare commendations. It means that our leaders should try and earn commendations. Nigerians are capable of knowing who has done them well. Let us stop thinking that if you, no matter what you do, Nigerians will condemn you. Nigerians will praise you if you do well. You don't need to bribe them. Thank you very much.
You don't need to bribe them. Thank you very much. News coming up midday right here on 92.3 Nigeria for Sunny Side right afterwards. And you know what happens after that? We have hard facts. All the conversations you need to be having will be had right here on 90.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. Follow us on social media at Nigeria Info PH for Facebook. Also follow on Instagram as well. You can follow me if you want to. It's at Jude Omamegbe. That will be on Instagram as well as Facebook. There's a Samuel in the middle of the name, by the way, just so we are sure. Not Solomon, Samuel. Cheeky little devil that keeps calling me Solomon. But anyway, thank you very much. And to our winners from last week Friday for the loaves of bread, I think one of the men, I can't remember his name, I have to check the report now, didn't get to us on time, but I do believe Bryce has received his cake. He won an 8-inch cake, a 6-inch cake, sorry. So please, next time when we have our giveaways, please send in your numbers as quickly as possible so we can have them collated and sent forward for actions to be taken. Tomorrow promises to be another fantastic day for conversations. Do enjoy the rest of your day right here on 92.3 Nigeria Info.